What is up, guys? Crypto John with another market update. So, as you may have heard, we actually had a great fucking day for crypto. Just looking at some of the gains here, Verge went up 32.5%, Tron went up 20%, and I think Bitcoin went up like 12, 11%, something like that. Yeah, 10% right now currently. So, we've had a great day for crypto. And as I'm very fond of saying, this is all because Bitcoin is acting as a weather vane for the markets. So whenever Bitcoin goes up, everything follows. Whenever Bitcoin goes down, everything follows. So let's take a look at what's going on in the charts here. So as you guys know, I don't do that much day trading. I prefer to do a little bit of swing trading and investing, especially when the markets are so unpredictable as they are now. But it looks like the 4K support level held. We did test it quite a few times and go down a little bit further. But it looks like it held, and we could be ripe for a bounce play. Now, if that did happen, you could potentially pull away from the price point right now. Probably, if you nail it, 25% to 30%. But if you're more conservative, maybe 15, 16%. So that's something you could actually do right now. Personally, I did snatch up some Bitcoin at this level right here. If you're in my course, you know what I do is I typically snatch up crypto on the dips, and then have a knife catching strategy that I do where if it keeps going up, then I'll sell it into strength, and if it goes down, then I'll dollar cost average down. But as for anyone who might be getting in right now, I'd say the next target would be the 5K resistance level. And keep in mind too, we're still not out of the waters yet. This descending trend line has held strong. We had a fake out right here, in which we gained in a single day 20%. So I still remember that day. Everyone was ecstatic and bullish, and then what do you know? We went back down. Looked like we were still out of the water. We were just crossing out of the descending trend line, and then boom, we lost something like 40% in just a week or something like that, just over a week. So do be careful, okay? Crypto has a habit of shaking people out by giving them fake breakouts. We call those fake outs, and then just crashing down further. So the bear alternative that could happen is this could just be a fake out, right? We could end up getting up here, and then people think, oh, we're going to break out. Finally, time for a bull market, and then we could just crash even lower down to 3K, maybe even 2K. Now, I will note that the volume in the last couple of weeks has been significantly higher than it has previously, which is a good sign. But again, keep in mind, compared to mid to late 2017 levels of volume, the volume now is absolutely nothing. So I think that a lot of the smart money is still waiting, slowly accumulating, not doing much trading, just kind of waiting around, seeing what's going to happen, seeing what the masses are doing. And speaking of the masses, actually, I saw an article that said that Bitcoin searches on Google have hit their highest level since April, which is obviously good because in crypto, as I've said many times, it's not so much the infrastructure or the actual internal development of the cryptocurrencies that always lead to financial gains in the markets. It's typically just emotional sways, right? That's like the first thing you learn in trading, and when you buy my course, you can get it at getbitcoinmillionaire.com. It's the first thing you learn is fear and greed are what drive the markets. It's not rationality, and it's just fear and greed, and that's why you want to be a step above that and think rationally, right? The masses, look at this, right? If you look at what the masses did in 2017, they were fucking idiots. They got in right when it was at its highest. There was stories about people taking loans out, on their houses to get into Bitcoin when it was 16, 17,000. People are just stupid. They see something on NBC or whatever, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, whatever, and they're like, oh, it says that Bitcoin's going to keep going up. I'll buy Bitcoin now. What a great idea. And they don't think for themselves, So you've got to think for yourself, and you've got to think rationally if you're going to survive in the long run, right? Which again is why I am patiently waiting with most of my money in fiat and waiting to see what happens, buying at the dips, dollar cost averaging down, and then, once we break out of this descending trend line, which I will interpret as a breakout, if we do a breakout and then a retest and then it holds strong, right? Not like one of these things where we do a breakout and then fall back down. That's not really a breakout, right? But once we do hit a genuine 1, 2, 3, 4 breakout pattern, which I talk about in my course, I will be investing much more heavily. Now, I was talking to someone and they did a good leveraged trade right at the support level, like I recommended again in my course. So you can check it out. It's at getbitcoinmillionaire.com. But enough of that. Let's take a look at some news. So, one thing I saw too, which was pretty cool, was that Amazon has launched a new service for building blockchains. And if Amazon's getting into it, then it's probably a good move. And this is like, again, like I keep saying, if you look at all the news and the infrastructure and the development and the jobs being created in the crypto space, it seems so obvious that it's going to be bullish, right? It seems so logical that crypto will be bullish. But again, fear and greed are what drive the markets. Warren Buffett said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And that's, again, why I am snatching up at these low prices, dollar cost averaging down. Be greedy when others are fearful, right? And once we get signs of an accumulation phase, which I've mentioned before, I will start accumulating much more. But again, for now, be patient, wait, it'll pay off. I've been through many markets before, stocks, Forex, everything, crypto. You got to be patient. If you're not patient, the market will chew you up and spit you out, okay? We also had a few comments on crypto from the SEC chair, which overall was not very bullish. A lot of comments that he said were sort of reserved and very negative. Basically, he's concerned about money laundering and et cetera, et cetera. No Bitcoin ETF anytime soon. But to be honest, I think that we kind of all expected that. It's funny how the first couple of times that, I can't remember where they were, but the first couple of times that the SEC rejected the Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin just tanked. Went down probably like 10% in a day or something. But now, the market doesn't even care because we're just so used to, the government not really being too on board with crypto. And it's obvious why they're not on board with it, because they can't really control it, right? I actually got a comment too on one of my other videos, the last one that I did, where I talked about Ohio being the first state to accept taxes. And someone said, don't pay taxes in Bitcoin because then they can track your address. And that's fair. And then someone responded to that saying, mask it with Monero, right? Because Monero basically masks transactions so that it's more difficult. It might be impossible. I find that hard to believe, but it's definitely a lot more difficult to track them. So I think that's why over this next year, once we hit signs of an accumulation phase, I'm going to be, that's cool. Cool piece of news right there. I'm going to be accumulating Monero, Verge, a lot of these privacy-based coins, right? That's actually pretty funny that Goldman Sachs can't hold crypto, again, because of all the regulations. So the odds are in our favor, not the big banks. The odds are in the people's favor, which is a really good thing, of course. I also got a few questions in my course about Bitcoin Cash. So basically what I said is I'm not too big a fan of Bitcoin Cash. I've done some trades on it clearly, but I think that it doesn't really offer much new, aside from it just has good marketing. It's marketed as like Bitcoin 2.0 or the real Bitcoin or whatever, and it has some big names behind it. But aside from that, it's literally, it doesn't offer anything new. It's just redundant. Bitcoin is clearly caught up with the implementation of the Lightning network and everything else and increased transaction speeds. So I'm a Bitcoin guy. I don't think Bitcoin Cash is a huge deal. That being said, I will do some trades if it's profitable. I don't care. I'll trade anything, but I'm not going to really invest in it for a long term. I think that within the next probably 3, 4, 5 years, Bitcoin Cash is going to kind of slide off into irrelevance as Bitcoin becomes dominant in a lot of the transactions that we see. Let's see if there's any other things I can talk about. So obviously this right here is pretty fucking bullish. Just again, the fact that Amazon is creating a whole new service for building blockchain and helping people, with blockchain type stuff, that's obviously massive. Amazon has repeatedly been ahead of the curve. When they got into cloud storage with their service, I think, God, I don't even know when, probably 10, 15 years ago is when they started first like really developing it and kind of planning it. People were like, this is dumb. Things are never going to go on the cloud. You don't have control to it. You don't have access to it. But lo and behold, everything's on the fucking cloud now. So Amazon is clearly very ahead of the curve. I'll also be accumulating Ethereum somewhat heavily over the next year. I'm going to be focusing more on small cap altcoins though, but obviously I like to diversify with having some of the big three coins: Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So it looks like Ethereum did go up by about 8-10%. Again, in response to Bitcoin. Now let's talk about a specific move right here. So let's get up some indicators to look at momentum. So if you were to make a trade right here, that actually might not be a bad move. Obviously, it would have been better if you got in at this 3,800 level. I actually had a stop loss that I mentioned in my course that I set up that triggered at around 38.25, I think. So if you were, but even so, if you were to take a trade right here, it would not be unreasonable to try and aim for the 5K support level, or even up here around 5,500 with the descending trend line. Right, it looks like the odds are in your favor. Right, the volume is there, the bounce is there from the technical side. The MACD and stochastic RSI are looking like they're on an upward trajectory. At least the stochastic RSI is. The MACD looks like it's just about to reverse. So that might be something that you could do if you guys are looking to make trades. You could clearly make a bounce play right here and then aim for maybe sell off a little bit here around 4,800 to lock in some gains. And then hold on to a little bit, and sell it off as we go higher and higher, right? So that's typically what I do. I started off trading just all or nothing, right? I'd put my whole portfolio into something and then just sell it at a certain level. But what I do now, just because I've learned to manage risk better, is, say that I buy $10,000 at this price right here, right? Then once we get up here, right here, at the edge of this resistance right here, I'll maybe sell 30%, and then once we get around here, maybe I'll sell another 20 or 30%, and then save the rest in case we ride it out, so that you lock in some gains as you go up, okay? And again, I talk about all this in my course. It's at getbitcoinmillionaire.com. You can check it out and get into the course we've got, the insider trading group that we've got going, where I literally notify you everything I buy and sell in real time. So yeah, if you guys like the video, please hit subscribe, please like, and I will see you next time.